Very good morning and welcome to a new crypto update video. Bitcoin at 90,400 US dollars. Yes, all the gains we made yesterday in quotation marks have almost or nearly been lost again. And that's even though in the end the next bull run or the next altcoin season should actually be starting now. But I already warned you yesterday, I have to say, in the Telegram group, and I already wrote all these moves and so on. It's probably only going to be really decided today. We already saw it yesterday during the Asia or US session that we first had this pump again, just like the day before, immediately sold off again. And that's exactly how it was in the end yesterday, or rather, again last night as well. So we still have a bearish outlook, but a lot will be decided today. We're getting the Nvidia numbers. If the Nvidia numbers are great, then to the moon and the wild ride will probably continue for the next 2 or 3 months, or rather just 1 month, because then Japan comes in a month. Or if the numbers are absolutely terrible, then good night bull run, and I'd say that's it for now. Even if tomorrow's employment data is okay, and even if the Fed possibly lowers interest rates, in the long term, that's a good thing. But in the short term, we're definitely going to take a close and calm look at everything now. Of course, we're looking at crypto, stocks, equity markets, everything possible. So make sure to stay tuned until the end. But before we get started, as always, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, check out the free Telegram talk and Signal group. There you'll always get the latest info. When I enter trades, when I exit, or when I take any profits, you'll be the first to know in there. All right? So I'd say let's get started. So Bitcoin is at $90,500 and the stock markets aren't looking too good either. Stocks hold losses before Nvidia, Bitcoin weakens, market drop. It's really not looking good. The whole market, even the stock markets, were a bit lower again yesterday. Asian markets are down, Bitcoin is down, everything is down. And of course, everyone is waiting for Nvidia. And not just that, but also Japan is causing uncertainty with the new stimulus package and things like that. The whole sentiment is feeling a bit more pressured. But as I said, Bitcoin actually performed relatively well yesterday, reaching up to $94,000. We were expecting that, okay, we would at least have to break through $95,000 or $96,000 here, but we didn't manage to do that. Since then, it went back down. We've dropped to as low as $89,000. Our target zone is still down here between $85,000 and $89,000. And I also think we could see those levels again today during the course of the day. A quick smackdown to fish for liquidity, because if we take another quick look at this on the daily time frame and then at the vectors, we can see here it goes down to 87,000. That's the green vector. And then we have a blue one that goes down to $85,000. These are the zones that I will be keeping an eye on for now. If we get terrible prospects from Nvidia tonight, the whole topic becomes irrelevant anyway. And then we could probably even move towards 75,000 US dollars. And then this low down here, around 74,000 US dollars, would become very, very likely or even decisive because, technically speaking, we are still in an uptrend with a corrective phase. We draw the Fibonacci level from our low to our top. There we see, we are right here between the golden pocket and the 0.786, so a normal bull run correction, which is still possible in this sense. But as I said, the risk is growing by the hour. Then yesterday there were labor market data, which turned out worse, but the FedWatch tool says 51% still believe we will not get a rate cut, and that's exactly the big uncertainty we currently have in the markets. No one knows where we stand. We'll only find out tonight, and if Nvidia doesn't deliver, then good night and buckle up, because then things are going to get really wild. And of course, towards the end of the video, we'll also take a look at the stock markets. Otherwise, what's going on with the funding rates? The funding rates are still positive. That's wonderful, because if we keep dropping, everyone should go long so we can keep liquidating them. The only thing that gives me a bit of hope, and I already mentioned this to you yesterday, is the heat map, because there aren't as many long positions anymore. But the long bias is still there. We can definitely see it. The funding rates are rising, Bitcoin is just drifting along, and it's a story of its own. Sorry, but it really is a story of its own. What's happening right now just doesn't fit the markets at all, to be honest. But all right, otherwise, I'm definitely keeping an eye on this blue zone. That's the most important point for me right now, that we then recover. If you want to trade all of this, or if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, you are welcome to do so at my partner exchange, Bingo. At the moment, there is up to 11,500 USDT. The offer is still valid for 20 days, and there's also the Points Festival, where you can secure a point for every $1,000 in trading volume, which you can then redeem for free trades. So feel free to check it out. The link is down in the video description, and you'll be supporting the channel by using it. All right, let's move on to the altcoins. Ethereum, looked a bit better yesterday too. So Ethereum as well, we're switching back to the 4-hour time frame here. No higher high, once again a lower high. The only hope right now, just like with Bitcoin, is that we hold this low and at least get a small upward bounce. Otherwise, for me, the clear long zone is between $2,800 and $2,500 for now. If the numbers tonight are absolutely terrible, I don't expect them to be completely terrible. Of course, there's still demand for AI. The whole China issue is still a bit more complicated. So I rather suspect the numbers could be more or less flat. Anything else would be a surprise, whether positive or negative. But of course, that would also have an impact to the upside. The forecast is, of course, even more important. So if we get this crash down here, even with positive numbers, I'm fine with that. And then we can definitely go long between $2,800 and $2,500 here, especially because we still have a bit of room here in terms of the correction. If we pull this from the FIB here, that would be down here at the 1.414 to 1.786 Fibonacci retracement level. So we could still very well go further down and from there start the recovery. Solana absolutely celebrated yesterday, but again, didn't form a higher high. So what more can you say about that? We need a higher high in order to get a trend reversal here. Solana is still one of the strongest coins at the moment, but even so, there's still a lot missing. Let's move on to my friend Tau. There too, it was immediately sold off again yesterday. It's way too risky if you try to catch the bottom now and just keep going long because altcoins are so cheap. That could work out well tonight, but it could also go completely wrong, so just leave it and wait until the market has settled by tomorrow. Let's move over to the traditional markets, starting with the US dollar and euro, which are unchanged. Then gold. On an upward trend, as I already said in the live stream yesterday, the $4,143 mark would be an option. I would also keep an eye on that this evening. If we end up here this evening, you might be able to adjust your short position a bit or even increase it again. Otherwise, hands off. Neither long nor short. The short is still running. Silver, same story. Here too, we definitely have room up to $52. That would then be a lower high again, and we could continue the move downward. Otherwise, nothing has changed here at this point. Then traditional markets. The DAX is at support. So the DAX, like I said yesterday, looks like a textbook Bart Simpson pattern. Really this steep rise and then this consolidation here for months between 23,000 and 24,000 points. If we fall below that now, then things will probably move really fast because there are gaps everywhere here. The best case would be at 19,000, but that would also be almost 20% correction, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 15%, 14, 15%, I would definitely go along with that. Because if we look at the stock markets, you know, we already talked about this yesterday, the golden pocket would be one option. That would be perfect. Why do I come up with this 19% correction for the NASDAQ, which would still be healthy? That would be an opportunity. Take it and then back up again. In my opinion, that would be an opportunity, just like with the S&P 500. As I said, we're still in an uptrend everywhere. We have to state that clearly and explicitly. We're still above those lows everywhere. That looks good. But why do I come up with this 19%? Let's take a look at Nvidia. In my opinion, Nvidia has definitely hit the 3. So from this upward movement, we've expanded up to $198, even a bit more. That means the 3 should be here, normally be in place. If we now see a correction here and we assume that a 3.618 move was expanded from wave 3, then normally the following correction should be larger. And that's why the golden pocket or the 0.5 would be the first targets. That would mean a 14 to 24, 25% drop for Nvidia. Buying opportunity, because I don't know how quickly we'll see something like that again, at least in the short term, to at least get a rebound. That's more or less my plan for now. As I said, don't try to over leverage yourselves here. So the only thing I still have running right now is a gold short. And that's pretty much it, I think. Except for the bots, but that's another topic. Otherwise, nothing else is running at the moment. Gold, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. As I said, I'm close to making a move there, but I'm still waiting for a bit more. Otherwise, don't take any risks. In my opinion, the risk is way too high right now. Otherwise, in terms of economic data, by the way, nothing really exciting is coming out today. That will only come tomorrow with the labor market data. And with that, I'd say this was a good overview for today. If there's anything new, I'll definitely let you know either through Telegram updates or something else. As I said, check out BingX, the best exchange. And otherwise, all that's left for me to say is stay safe today, don't over leverage, be careful, and then we'll catch up again tomorrow morning with another update video. Until then, ciao, and as always, stay crypto.